Here is the all-new iPhone 18 Pro and the iPhone Fold. With the obvious disclaimer that things could change, these are leaks and rumors, yada yada yada. Look, we've been down this path before many times, but it's about this time of year that Apple locks in the design for the fall iPhone release and actually starts to build them. In fact, just a couple of days ago over on Reddit, a prototype iPhone from a couple of gens ago, I think it was a 12, actually surfaced online, and you can see, like even 8-9 months before it launched, how close this was to the real deal. So while there could be some wild last minute changes, this is likely going to be the iPhone 18 Pro and the iPhone Fold we get later this year. We got a bunch of new last minute leaks and rumors. Let me tell you what made the cut with the final design and what didn't, and why some of you guys will be a little excited, but I think most of you are honestly gonna be kind of really disappointed. Let me tell you all the iPhone stuff you need to know right now. But first, I gotta wish a happy, I think it's a 16th birthday-ish, to the most famous Apple leak of all time. This was, of course, the notorious iPhone 4 Gizmodo story. Long story short, iPhone wound up in a bar, Gizmodo got their hands on it, it went viral before even going viral was a thing online, and it, I think still remains to this day, the biggest iPhone leak of all time. It's one of the reasons why Apple is so secret and so careful about their new unreleased iPhone models. And while Apple does do a really good job of keeping things under lock and key, because there's so many moving parts these days in the process, from suppliers and people building the phones and prototypers and things like that, they just can't keep everything sort of under seal, and things start to leak out, which is, as it goes every year, exactly what has happened yet again with the 18 Pro and the Fold. And we're hearing right now that the iPhone 18 Pro series and the Fold, they're basically now locked in sort of final validation design testing, where small batches of this are being made, which means the design is locked in and ready to go. So here is our look, our very early look at the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max. And spoiler alert, it's not that significantly different from the phone we have right now, with a couple of sort of notable exceptions. Number one, really the biggest change you're gonna notice with the 18 Pro, or maybe not notice, is the slightly smaller dynamic island. There were some photos that made their way online a couple of days ago that allegedly show what the real smaller cutout looks like, and what this is basically going to result in is a slightly smaller dynamic island. Now, because the dynamic island kind of, shape shifts and moves and changes to be dynamic, you're probably not really gonna notice that smaller cutout, but technically it is a smaller cutout on the 18 Pro series with the true sort of all-screen, under-display Face ID tech, likely not coming until next year for the 20th anniversary iPhone. So yes, for better or worse, the 18 Pro series will have a notch. Again, on the design side, even the schematics, everything here is basically going to be almost identical to what we have with the 17 Pro, again, with some exceptions. One of them is the color. We're hearing that the new color that beyond the cosmic orange for this year, for 2026, it's gonna be some kind of red or crimson. That's gonna be the new color that Apple is going to promote. And actually, there might not even be a black or space black or jet black equivalent. It's just gonna be colors, as that seems to kind of be the big thing that everyone is going with the phones. And while we have heard rumors persistently for years that Apple wanted to kill all the ports, or they wanted to get rid of the buttons and go to software buttons and things like that, that is not going to be here. But on the inside, things here could get very interesting. Now, we're expecting the regular kind of updates, better silicon inside, whatever with the whatever chip is going to be inside there, likely more RAM, some storage refinements, things like that. But I think what could be the coolest under the hood improvement here with the 18 Pro is talk about Apple tweaking their cell chip to finally work with direct-to-consumer satellites, in this case being Starlink. So long story short, you know how right now there's that kind of emergency satellite system where you can send your location and texts and sort of short bursts of info over the global satellite system? Well, that's one system that's out there, while the competitor, the other one, is Starlink, which lets you have like home Wi-Fi speeds basically anywhere on the planet. And Apple kind of realized they kind of put their hedge on the wrong company, and there is some speculation that behind the scenes, Apple is working to switch over to Starlink. So basically the idea would be that you'd have your 5G speeds and you'd be making your phone calls and things like that, but when you got out of cell network range, you're on a hike or in a remote area, you don't just have the ability to send a text in an emergency, but you could legitimately make a FaceTime call or watch a YouTube video or stream Netflix anywhere you are in the world. The only problem here is that while this is great for us, it's not great for Apple's relationship with the big cell carriers. They have to still be in business with them and sell phones. So I'm not sure how Apple's gonna play that relationship, but if they can get everybody in line, one of the big selling points for the 18 Pro is that you could have high-speed 100 megabit internet anywhere on the planet, which would be a really, really cool thing if Apple can pull it off. On the camera side, we're expecting your typical array of improvements. We've heard some better sensors could be going in there, maybe a boost to the telephoto lens system. We've heard some back and forth rumors on an upgraded selfie camera. There have been long-time rumors about 8K video finally being on the iPhone, or an astrophotography mode. That's been a long-time rumor that just hasn't materialized, so maybe this is the year that it happens. But then everything kind of gets thrown out and there's a wild card that enters, because this is the year we finally get this brand new iPhone in the lineup, which is this all new iPhone Fold / iPhone Ultra, or whatever Apple calls this thing. Again, we're hearing the design is locked in, and this is what the iPhone Fold is going to look like when it is revealed and launches later on this year. And right off the bat, I'm sure you've got some strong opinions, so drop a comment down below and let me know. We haven't even gotten to the price of this thing yet, but if you just look at it, it's got a very interesting design. I mean, kind of like I've been saying for a while, Apple is heavily leaning into the iPhone Air aesthetic. So it looks almost like an iPhone Air on the back with dual cameras though, instead of just one, and the whole thing is in a book form factor. This is the way Apple's going. We actually heard they did test, kind of thanks to Samsung, the flip method and the fold method, and basically they decided that while the flip was cool and compact, it just wasn't unique or different enough than the regular iPhone we have now, so they went with the fold rather than the flip. So it's definitely the most wild and most unique form factor we have ever gotten. It's basically the biggest iPhone redesign since the iPhone 10, and kind of like the iPhone 10, it's going to be probably the most expensive iPhone we have ever seen. We don't have concrete pricing on this, but given the Pros and the Pro Max are like $1,100, $1,200, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing is $2,000. Apple is definitely going to be pushing the envelope in terms of pricing here to see what they can get away with, as they're certainly taking a big swing with this thing, and it's going to be interesting to see how much this thing actually costs. Now, the silicon inside, I'm sure, is going to be flagship. It'll have all the other little bits and bobs and odds and ends of a flagship iPhone, but something interesting here is with the notch and the dynamic island, because according to the CAD renders that again are the finalized design, it looks like the exterior screen has a small cutout for a camera and probably will be the dynamic island. Maybe there is some wizardry here they could do with the software around this cutout, but if they're going to follow the same pattern as we're expecting, we would at least have the dynamic island on the front of this thing with a smaller cutout on the exterior screen. So you'd have a nice exterior display, you'd open up for a larger display, it would still be there. It's going to be a very different, very crazy iPhone cycle over the next couple of months, but if these leaks are true, which history tells us they probably are, it's going to be really exciting and definitely very unique for the year for the iPhone, which I think love Apple or hate them, nice to see at least something different happening. So you guys drop your thoughts down below. iPhone Fold, you in or are you out? And how much would you be willing to spend? And do you think there are enough upgrades this year? Do you like the design? You think that something's gonna happen at the end or the last minute and change everything? Let me know. Appreciate you guys as always for watching. Drop a comment. Thanks guys so much. I am Robert Rosenfeld from TAC, and I'll see you guys in the next one.